AI. It's everywhere you look these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Writing emails, making music, even coming up with recipes.
Mm-hmm.
But AI creating art. Now, that's a whole other can of worms,
Mm.
especially when you start to think about, well, who actually owns that art?
Yeah.
So get ready to really deep dive into AI art and copyright law, because today we're tackling the big question.
Mm-hmm.
Are AI prompts the new paintbrush?
It really is a fascinating question. And honestly, the law is struggling to keep up, you know?
Totally. And that's where our guest, Mitch Jackson, comes in.
Yeah.
He's not just a lawyer, though. This guy is deep in the tech world, and he's making a pretty bold claim. He's saying that the U.S. Copyright Office, they've got it all wrong when it comes to AI.
Okay.
They're basically saying only humans can hold copyrights.
Right.
But Mitch is saying they're missing something really important, especially when it comes to AI prompts and how creative that process can actually be. He's going so far as to call prompts the artist's new tool.
Wow.
So walk me through this. How does he back that up? What's the current situation with the Copyright Office and all this?
Well, right now, they're really focused on human authorship as like the thing for copyright. Their whole thing is there needs to be that spark of creativity.
Yeah.
You know, the control over how something's made, a unique perspective, all of that, for something to even be eligible for copyright protection. So if it's just an algorithm spitting out data without any human touch, the Copyright Office is like, nope, no copyright here.
Okay, that makes sense in the traditional way we think about art, right? Like my painting might be protected, but the actual paints and brushes I used, those aren't copyrighted.
Exactly.
But AI kind of throws a wrench in that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because where do you draw that line between human and machine?
Exactly. That's such a good point. And that's where Mitch comes in. He's saying the Copyright Office is stuck in the past. They're totally missing how much skill and, honestly, real artistry goes into creating the prompts that make AI art happen in the first place.
So he's saying it's not just typing in cat wearing a hat and that's it. You call it art.
Right.
It's about the decisions involved, choosing the specifics, the style, the lighting, all those choices that an artist makes to bring their vision to life.
Exactly. It's about being intentional. It's not just random.
Okay.
It's not like the AI is some magical art machine. It's the human guiding it with a vision.
Okay, so he's making a case for AI art being about intentionality.
Yeah.
It's not just this random thing. It's a deliberate process.
Totally. And it's not just some theory he came up with either. He talks about the way some of these AI tools are actually designed. You know, how as you type each word of a prompt, you can actually see the artwork changing in real time. It becomes like you're sculpting digitally. Every word shapes the outcome.
So you're almost like collaborating with the AI.
Right.
In a way.
Right.
You've got the vision and you're working together to make it a reality.
That's exactly it. It's this partnership. It's not one-sided, like the AI is just throwing random images at you. There's thought behind it, this back and forth. You try something, see what happens.
This is already making my head spin. And we're just getting started. So how does Mitch actually convince the Copyright Office? He can't just walk in with an analogy and call it a day, right?
No, definitely not. He's got to back it up. And he does. He breaks it down into 4 main points. He calls them the pillars of his argument for AI prompting deserving copyright protection.
Ooh, I love a good pillar. Okay, let's hear it. Pillar number 1, what's he got?
So his first pillar goes back to what we were just talking about, that the prompt itself, the brushstroke.
Okay.
He's saying copyright shouldn't just be about the final product, the AI art. It needs to be about the creative process behind it. How much detail and thought goes into the prompt itself, that's where the artistry is.
So the difference between a basic prompt and a really well-crafted one, it's like the difference between a stick figure and a Rembrandt. Both are drawings, but the skill and intent behind them are totally different.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. And that's exactly what Mitch is trying to say. It's the human element that matters. That spark, those choices you make in the prompting process, that's what should be recognized and protected.
Okay, he's got me so far. This is already making me think about AI art in a whole new way.
Okay.
What's his next pillar?
Yeah.
How else does he support this idea of AI prompting being authorship?
Okay, so his second pillar.
Okay.
It's all about the process, the back and forth we were talking about. He's saying just like, a painter adjusts their brush strokes or a sculptor changes the clay, AI users, they're always refining their prompts through trial and error.
It's not like you type in one perfect prompt and you're done masterpiece.
Exactly.
There's actual work that goes into it and revision and you experiment.
Iterative.
Yeah,
You try one thing, see how the AI responds.
Right.
Tweak a word here, change a phrase, and it's that whole journey, that process, the experimentation, that's what he says, really mirrors how creative any other art form is.
Yeah, and it makes me think about those documentaries about like famous paintings. And you see the layers underneath and how many times the artist changed something along the way.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like that with these AI prompts too.
Totally.
You're seeing this evolution of an idea.
And sometimes you even might like the earlier versions. Like you might like an artist's like early sketches more than you like the final product.
Right.
And it's the same with the AI. Maybe that earlier prompt, it actually got something closer to what you were originally going for.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So it's not always about just the end product. It's the whole journey.
Okay, I'm with you. I like that. This is really making me rethink this whole thing. So we've got the prompt as the brushstroke.
Right.
We've got this iterative process of creation.
Yeah.
What's his next big point?
Okay, so his third point, this one might be the most interesting,
Yeah.
especially to people who think AI art is just about letting the computer do all the work.
Right.
Mitch says it's really rare that it's just about the output.
Right.
What the artist does afterward is just as, if not more, important.
So you mean how they incorporate it? Like take the AI generated something and they use that as a background, but then they draw their own characters on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great example. Or maybe they take like little pieces the AI made and they combine them,
Right.
make a collage, or they use it as a starting point,
Yeah.
you know, and then they make a whole painting based on that. He's saying that the really interesting stuff happens when you blend that human creativity with AI as a tool.
It's not either.
It's both.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
Because even like traditional artists these days, they use all kinds of technology.
Exactly.
Digital editing and 3D modeling, it's all part of it now.
Yeah, it's part of the process.
Like no one would say a photographer doesn't own their photos because they use Photoshop.
Exactly. And that's what he's saying. As AI becomes, you know, just another tool,
Another tool.
all those old rules about, oh, well, what's real authorship, they start to fall apart a bit.
It's getting glorier.
It is. And that's where he's saying that the law, it really needs to catch up with where art is going.
Okay, so we're talking about intentionality.
Right.
This dynamic process,
Yeah.
and then combining human creativity with the machine.
Right.
So where does Mitch say the real heart of ownership lies?
Okay, so
That's his last pillar, right?
this is it.
Okay.
His fourth pillar, it all comes down to one word.
Okay, let's hear it.
Intent.
Intent.
He says whether it's a painting, a sculpture, a piece of music, or AI art,
Yeah.
it's the artist's vision that matters.
So my paintbrushes, they don't own the copyright to my painting.
Exactly.
I do. Because it was my idea, my expression, all of that.
And it's the same thing with AI art.
Yeah.
In the same way that a painter chooses, you know, oil paints or watercolors.
Right.
An AI artist is making choices about, well, what prompts am I going to use?
Yeah.
Which program am I going to use? All of that is guided by their vision. The AI is just a tool. It's a very powerful tool, but still a tool.
Okay, I've got to say, he's making a really compelling argument here. But this isn't just some theoretical debate, right?
Yeah.
This has real consequences.
Oh, absolutely.
For artists, for the future of art, for the law. So let's talk about the so what. What changes if we start thinking about AI prompting this way?
Well, for artists, it means they might actually be able to protect their work even when they're using AI.
Right.
So imagine being able to explore these new tools without being afraid that, oh, well, no one's going to protect your work because you used AI.
Right. It's really uncertain right now.
It is.
In the art world, who owns what with AI? It's kind of a free-for-all.
It's a little bit of a Wild West out there.
Totally.
But if we recognize prompting as a form of authorship, it really levels the playing field.
So it's not just about like protecting artists' rights.
Right.
It could really lead to a boom in creativity, new innovations in art.
Absolutely, because that uncertainty can make people nervous. Like, oh, I don't want to try this new thing because what if someone, you know, takes it from me?
It's exciting to think about, though, what could happen if artists feel like they can go all in with AI and really experiment.
Exactly. It's going to push boundaries in a really exciting way. And it goes beyond just art, too.
Yeah.
This whole thing has huge consequences for the law.
Right, because technology is always changing,
Always.
and the law has to keep up, or else...
It becomes obsolete.
Totally.
And we need laws that make sense, that can actually address how we're making and sharing art in this day and age. You know?
It's like we're trying to fit this, like, square peg of AI
right.
into this round hole of copyright law.
It's a tough one.
It really is. Something's got to give.
It does. And that's what makes this whole conversation so interesting, right?
Yeah.
We have to like really rethink how we look at things.
Yeah.
Creativity and ownership. in this digital age.
Totally.
It's not easy,
Yeah.
but we have to do it.
You know, it actually reminds me of when photography was first becoming a thing.
Okay, yeah.
People were saying, that's not art.
Right.
It's a machine making it.
You just push a button.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
now look at it.
It's you.
It's its own art form. People are like masters of photography. Could AI art be headed down that same road?
I think it could be. I mean, photography, it changed how we see art.
Right.
And AI is definitely making us think differently about, well, what does it mean to create something?
Yeah.
What's original?
Yeah, because you can make infinite versions
Exactly.
of something with AI.
With just one prompt. So then which one is the original?
Well,
Who owns the rights to all the different versions?
Whoa. Okay, my brain is officially broken. So, like, what if I write a song and then someone else uses AI to make, like, a million different versions of it?
Right.
Is that, like, stealing? Or is it inspiration?
Where's the line? I don't even know.
We don't know yet. I mean, that's the thing. Those
Yeah.
legal rules, they're still being figured out
Yeah.
as we go, which is kind of exciting, you know?
It's like we're watching history happen right in front of us.
Totally.
A little nerve-wracking, but exciting.
It's a big moment, though.
Yeah. For art, for tech, how we decide to handle this stuff now, it's going to have ripple effects for years.
That's why it's so important that we're talking about it now.
Exactly.
We need everybody involved.
Yeah.
Artists, the legal folks, the tech people, everyone
Everyone at the table.
thinking it through so we can figure out how to navigate this new world. Because we don't want to stop innovation.
Right. We need that.
But we also have to make sure people are protected.
It's all about finding that balance, which is tricky.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of these conversations, a lot of back and forth to really get it right.
Well, if anyone can do it, I think it's the creative world.
Oh, yeah.
They're always pushing the limits.
Exactly. They're not afraid to experiment.
Exactly. So maybe, just maybe, what we'll end up with
Yeah.
is a whole new way of thinking about art, A&D, copyright.
I like that.
That's more inclusive, that makes sense for this digital age we're in.
That would be fantastic. And it all starts with, just asking those questions, the ones we've been talking about today.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, here's my takeaway for you. Next time you see some cool AI art,
Yeah.
don't just think about how it looks. Think about everything that went into making it.
The why behind it.
Yes. The intention? How did a human, through AI, bring that to life?
I love that.
And hey, maybe you'll start coming up with your own questions
Exactly.
that could shape the future of art. Who knows?
That's what it's all about.
A huge thanks to Mitch Jackson for getting us thinking today. And to everyone listening, if you want to dive even deeper into this stuff,
Yeah.
we've got links in the show notes
Perfect.
to Mitch's work, some articles about all this, and even some of the questions we didn't get to today. But for now, keep those minds curious, keep those creative sparks alive. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.